Flintstones is celebrating 30 years of television. I mean, it's been a long time. How do you think it was so successful?
Well, first of all, doesn't seem like a long time when we think of it. All of a sudden, it's 30 years, and we're celebrating, but we're delightful. Why is it so successful? Basically, I think a novelty look, cave people doing situation comedy, and good stories. That's what I think. And the voices.
Yeah,
right?
I was going to say, and the voices have contributed a lot to it. And I think also the gags that have been inserted into those, I'm talking now about the gimmicks, like the elephant car wash, or the elephant that they use for the shower, or the warthog underneath the sink that serves as a live garbage disposal. And then we've had introduced into it a lot of new live action personalities, like Stony Curtis.
Stony Curtis, Gary Granite, Ann Mogrock. And Ann Margaret came to the studio and sang a song to our new edition when we gave birth to a baby, which is a exciting sequence when we did that show.
Now, I heard that the actress who played the voice of Wilma actually gave birth to her child on the same evening.
Exactly,
yes.
Right. Yeah. That's Jean Vanderpyle.
Yeah, that's an interesting coincidence.
Well, we told her to do that, We wrote it into the script.
Now, you also worked with Mel Blanc.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Mel, all those little bird characters and all those crazy little sounds of these creatures that we used in the Polaroid camera and on the typewriter. And as Bill was saying, for instance, Wilma goes out to hang up her laundry. She has these little birds, and she hangs them upside down, and their beaks hold the laundry and all that. Well, Mel did all of those voices. He was just wonderful.
Besides doing Barney.
And he was Barney, who was Fred's conscience.
Yeah.
Now, cartoons these days, I mean, there's been a lot of changes. I mean, video games are made into cartoon.
Yeah.
I mean, what are your feelings on that?
I don't know. For me, I think that a lot of it is maybe gets on the air and maybe makes it as a season, but I think most of that is fad material. And I feel that it comes and goes and will probably continue to do that. But I think to have something that is going to endure, it has to have a lot more substance than some of those, let's say, fad cartoons that are on there. The stories are so well done in the Flintstones, the voices so well cast, and the whole makeup of the show with the introduction of these other things. To me, I think to have something endure, you have to have more than just some gimmick, let's say, to move the thing along.
Now, what about violence in cartoons? I mean, we now have, the G.I. Joe and the stuff like that. I mean, what's your feelings?
Well, my feelings on violence is I do not like it. When we have worked on things like that, I have never enjoyed doing it, and I would far rather lean in the area of comedy, like the Flintstones, and most of the things that Joe and I have done have been comedy. Yogi Bear, the Jetsons, all of it has been comedy, and that is the way we lean, and that's the way we feel.
I think that accounts for its longevity, too, is that, there's nothing you can pick on, and we try to use good taste all the time.
Now, a major subject these days is you did one special where the Flintstones, against drugs.
Oh, yes.
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 I mean, why did that come about? I mean, now you're, participating.
Well, we did, you mean the Just Say No?
Just Say No.
Right.
Yeah, we did that with the Flintstone Kids and Michael Jackson. It was very successful. And we're working on we're involved in the DARE program, if you're familiar with that. Mm-hmm. And we're also involved very heavily in earthquake prevention for children. We've done film on that. Yogi Bear is a spokesperson or a spokesbear for that particular show. So we're involved all around. We also set up a laugh room at the hospital, and we run our tapes there for the children that go in there, and the philosophy being keep them laughing. You'll have to use a lot less medicine, believe me.
We now have also the subject of recycling, and a lot of people are getting involved. How will the cartoons that you do in the future reflect that?
Well, they're in work already. There's one feature in work called The Endanger that has to do with saving the forest and
The environment.
the environment, and we're going to insert that kind of material into our cartoons. Not to lay it in heavy, but to bring it in subliminally, and it's part of our duty to do this as far as entertaining children.
Do you think the children will respond to it?
Well,
I think the whole thing depends on the way it is done,
Yeah.
and I feel very confident
Yeah.
that the way this feature is being written and produced, it can't help but be an outstanding feature.
Now, dealing with feature films, the Jetsons has actually come to the big screen now.
Yeah,
Yes.
Yeah. Well, you have an environmental situation in there where they're accidentally destroying the environment up on a satellite and wrecking the lives of some little creatures. And we resolved that, and that's not only an interesting story, but also an environmental solution. And that's part of what we're going to be doing on almost everything that we do. You have to watch what's going on in the world and insert it, but don't hit the kids on the head with it. Slide it in, you know.
You have to make it entertaining, or
Yeah.
they're not going to watch it.
You're
Therefore,
darn right.
they won't be looking at the message.
Yeah.
How has cartoons affected both of your lives, personally?
Well, it's been my whole life. Whether I wanted to or not, I got into it, and we've been involved heavily year in and year out, so it takes over all your time. There's not much time for anything else. Now, Bill goes out and plays polo, you know.
Bill hasn't played a game of polo in 60 years. But I will say that it has been my whole life, and I just hit my 80th birthday, and I'm looking forward to letting some of the younger people do it and do it better, and let me look on and watch.
And laugh, I hope.
Yes, and laugh.
And laugh. Make them laugh. That's the only thing I'd like to do.
Dealing with the Flintstones one more time, back during the creation, did they at all resemble any of the sitcoms, sort of like the Honeymooners and the things back during that time?
Yeah, well, we've been compared to the Honeymooners, and my answer to that always is, if that's what we're compared to, that's a compliment, because the Honeymooners is class stuff, and I hope we fit into that genre forever.
That's the funniest cartoon I have ever looked at, were the Honeymooners. I used to laugh in those until I would cry.
Well, don't cry.
Any new creations? I mean, any new series coming?
Well, one of the things that's complementary, in my mind, to what we do is that the Flintstones are now, the script is being written for a major motion picture live, so that's future. As far as new series, yeah, we've gone full cycle with the Tom and Jerry's. We're doing a new series based on the Tom and Jerry kids. And also, do you remember a character called Droopy?
Yes.
Well, we introduced a son. He has a little son called Dripple. Droopy and Dripple. And the cartoons are doing very, very well. In fact, they're thinking of putting 3 of them together and running them as a primetime special. So we're in a lot of stuff.
There are a lot of new, exciting things coming out of Hanna-Barbera on the network this year, both in prime time and in Saturday morning.
Yeah.
And
syndication.
And syndication.
Yeah.
And a lot of these new shows that are coming out there are coming out of a new addition to the studio. I think David Kirshner, our new president and CEO, has come up with a lot of new exciting material that's going to make Hanna-Barbera bigger and better than ever, when both of us are very pleased with what's happening.
Upward and onward is the theme here.
Well, I'm afraid we're out of time, but I think it was an honor for the viewers, and definitely an honor having this time with you both.
Well, thank you very, very much.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.